Many empires in history have changed their name over time. You know, what you call yourself. But the people writing about you call you something else. Usually something derived from the first piece of your territory they happen to encounter. For the great empire that rose on the Iranian plateau in the 6th century BC, that first encounter happened in a southwestern province called Persia. The Greeks began referring to the whole civilization by that provincial name, Persis in Greek, Persia in Latin, and from Latin into every major European language that followed. Meanwhile, the people being named had their own word for where they lived. They had used it for generations before the Greeks arrived. That word was Iran, rooted in the ancient term for the peoples of the plateau, meaning the land of the Aryans. The disconnect seems obvious in hindsight. It is like a foreign power calling the entire United States Virginia because that was the first coastline their ships reached. The name describes a part and assigns it to the whole. But once a name enters the records of powerful civilizations, correcting it becomes an act of will, not just of vocabulary. The land that the world called Persia had, by the early 20th century, survived more disruptions than almost any other place on Earth. It had been the center of the Achaemenid Empire, the first empire to govern 3 continents simultaneously. At its peak, it held an estimated 44% of the world's entire population. Its founder, Cyrus the Great, built that empire through a then radical idea. Conquered peoples could keep their gods, their languages, and their customs. When he freed the Jewish people from captivity in Babylon, he funded their return to Jerusalem and helped them rebuild their temple. The clay cylinder recording his decrees is considered by many scholars to be one of the earliest human rights documents in history. That empire fell to Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC. But Alexander was so impressed by what he had conquered that he began adopting Persian dress, Persian customs, and Persian administrative structures. He did not erase the civilization, he absorbed it. After Alexander came the Sasanian Empire, which was the first dynasty to formally use Iran as a political term for the state. Their king, Ardashir I, had his coins inscribed with the title King of Kings of Iran. The concept of Iran as a unified political entity originated here, centuries before the 1935 name change the world tends to remember. Then came the Arab conquests of the 7th century, which brought Islam and gradually displaced Zoroastrianism. Arabic became the language of administration, yet Persian culture did not dissolve. It adapted and re-emerged, producing great scientists, poets, and philosophers, while keeping a distinct identity separate from the Arab world. The Mongols came in the 13th century and devastated cities, burned libraries, and massacred populations. Yet within a few generations, those same Mongol rulers had become patrons of Persian art. The civilization outlasted its destroyers. Through all of it, every conquest, every dynasty, the people on the plateau kept calling their land Iran. The outside world kept calling it Persia. And for a long time, that gap did not seem urgent enough to close. The early 20th century brought a different kind of problem. The Qajar dynasty had spent its final decades losing sovereignty. British and Russian powers had carved the country into spheres of influence. British companies extracted Persian oil on terms heavily favorable to Britain. The image of Persia in Western eyes had become inseparable from the image of the Qajar court, a dynasty seen as weak, corrupt, and easily manipulated. Into that situation came Reza Khan, a military officer who had risen from nothing through sheer determination. He seized power in 1921, became Shah in 1925, and immediately began rebuilding the country. He constructed railways, reformed the legal system, expanded education, and pushed back against foreign economic control wherever he could. He also looked at the name his country carried internationally and saw a problem. It was not the history attached to the name that bothered him. The history was magnificent. The problem was what Persia had come to represent in Western perception: an exotic, faded kingdom, a place romantic enough to be patronized and foreign enough to be misunderstood. Iran offered something different. It was the name Iranians had always used for themselves. It connected the country to its own identity, not the identity projected onto it by outsiders. And it was inclusive. Persia pointed to one province and one ethnic group. Iran reached across all of it: Persians, Azerbaijanis, Kurds, Uluchis, Turkmen, and the many other communities whose home this had always been. On Nowruz, the Iranian New Year in March 1935, Reza Shah formally requested that all foreign nations adopt Iran in their official correspondence. Diplomatic circulars followed. The message was direct. This is what we have always called ourselves, and this is what we expect you to call us going forward. Some countries adjusted without friction. The United States made the change. The Anglo-Persian Oil Company became the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. Maps and official documents were updated. Britain was considerably less cooperative. Decades of using Persia had embedded the word so deeply in British administrative culture that some officials reportedly confused Iran with Iraq. During the Second World War, with both countries under Allied occupation, Winston Churchill personally asked the Iranian government to revert to using Persia for the duration of the conflict to reduce confusion in military correspondence. The Iranian government agreed. Persia was temporarily reinstated. After the war, it reverted to Iran again, but British resistance did not fully disappear. When Reza Shah's successor, Mohammad Reza Shah, visited London, Churchill pushed to have him formally received as Shah of Persia rather than Shah of Iran. Iranian diplomats objected. Mohammad Reza Shah reportedly said he did not mind either name, a diplomatic answer that left the tension unresolved. It was not until the mid-1970s, 40 years after Reza Shah's original request, that Britain finally and consistently used Iran at all levels of official correspondence. 40 years for a name change requested in 1935. It is a small but revealing detail about whose preferences carry weight in international affairs. The 1979 Islamic Revolution changed Iran's place in the world dramatically. The Shah was overthrown, the Islamic Republic was declared, relations with the West collapsed, and the word Iran began accumulating associations, sanctions, nuclear programs, regional conflicts that had nothing to do with the ancient civilization and everything to do with the political state that emerged after 1979. The result is a clear split in how the name is used today. Iran means the state, the government, the foreign policy, the geopolitical tensions. Persia means the culture, the poetry, the architecture, the cuisine, the 4,000 years of history. Iranian restaurants outside Iran frequently call themselves Persian restaurants because Persian signals something about culture that Iranian, in current international usage, does not automatically convey. Inside Iran, the relationship to both names is more personal. Iran is simply home. Persia carries the weight of a glorious past, of empires, of poets whose words are still memorized centuries after their deaths. Many Iranians hold both comfortably, Iran for the present, Persia for the heritage. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe for the next video. Thanks for watching.